Yo, what up, and welcome back to Pnoid News. Man, listen, all right, I was browsing through Twitter today, right, because, when I have my kids, you know what I'm saying, as I watch them play on the floor, I'm standing here and I'm like, I don't want to watch, you know what I'm saying, Polly Pocket or whatever nonsense that they're watching, or Barbie or whatever garbage it is they have on the TV, right? And so, therefore, I hop on Twitter so I can stand here and watch some shit, you know what I mean, and be entertained myself, you know what I mean? But I usually, like, I get into arguments or whatever. Like, usually it's like Sundays that I get into these type of arguments. I got in an argument with, fucking Lozard Dialogue today. And I also came across this, right? This is a dude, you know what I'm saying, named Mike something or fucking other. I really don't care, right? But this dude here, he does not motherfucking understand what the Bill of Rights says. You know what I'm saying? Legitimately. And he's going to stand here and lecture us about rights and responsibilities. So I thought maybe, you know what I'm saying, we should break this down and have a, intellectual conversation about it and show some evidence and proof and make him understand that, he really doesn't understand what the fuck he's talking about. So let's bang this out real quick.
If you are not concerned about your responsibilities and you're only concerned about your rights, you're just selfish. Because in every...
Justin King. The guy's name's Justin King. I apologize. I thought it was Mike something. He looks like a fucking Mike. But then again, he still kind of looks like a Justin too, right? He's using that beard to cover up the fact that he doesn't have a chin. Like you can kind of look in his eyes and notice that they're too far apart. Like, this is what happens when you're not a predator and you're fucking prey. You know what I mean? You end up having these type of mental thoughts. But let's keep banging.
Every right, there is an inherent responsibility.
Wait. So in every right, there's a responsibility. So what you're saying is that rights should be equally weighted with responsibility. So like maybe voting rights should be for individuals who, have responsibility to the government. Say like, I don't know, people who are going to be drafted to fight in the war, or maybe people who pay taxes, individuals who own land. Right? You know what I'm saying? Like maybe these should be the individuals who vote and not the people who the government serves and who take tax money from the government. Maybe we should have that conversation. You know what I mean? Because like, maybe this guy's based. Who knows? Let's listen.
It's a hot topic right now. Everybody's talking about their individual rights. If you want ultimate freedom, you want the right to do anything. Anything as long as you are not infringing on somebody else. And that's the society I want. There's a catch to that, though. If you have the right to do anything, you also have shared responsibility for everything.
Well, that's kind of not true. You know what I'm saying? That's inherently not true. All right? If you had the right to do anything, you know what I'm saying, you have responsibility for everything. So I'm kind of with that when it comes down to things like voting, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you have the right to vote, you have the responsibility to be educated enough to understand the matters that go into voting and go into government and go into understanding government, go into understanding how your government works, right? And go into understanding how money works and the economy works and taxes work, because really the only thing the government does is take money from one person, give it to another, create money, and then go to war. So you should probably understand things like geopolitics and shit. Like these are things that you should really have a full grasp on before you choose who's leading you, right? You should have an understanding of how economies work. You should have an understanding of how human beings work, right? Just as in general thing. Like there should be probably a test. But like, hey, I mean, by all means, let's keep assuming that you're right.
In the U.S., at least, when people talk about their rights, they talk about the enumerated ones, the ones listed in the Bill of Rights in our Constitution. Most people really only know the first two amendments, to be honest.
Well, I'm kind of not most people, you know what I'm saying, first off. But secondly, you know what I'm saying, when it comes down to it, why is it when you started talking about most people only know this and, individuals who talk about their rights, you bring up pictures of, you know what I'm saying, some fucking white old couple and then some white dude over here fishing, you know what I mean? But, when you start talking about having responsibility for everything, you have some female who's light skinned walking down in fucking a New York City street. And by the way, the Statue of Liberty is French. It's not American. All right. Let's get nothing misunderstood about that. All right. Because I'm fucking tired of people standing here bringing up the fucking Statue of Liberty as if it's an American icon. It's not. It's fucking French. The French made that as a gift for us. You know, and let me be real here. I personally think if we're going to start tearing down statues, that should be the first one.
You have the right to free speech. It's in the First Amendment. Was it so anybody could say any silly little thing that popped into their head? No, of course not. It was there so society could advance.
All right. So, like, here's the thing, man, right? Like, if you're going to make a video like this, legitimately, you know what I mean? If you're going to stand here and, you know, talk about some shit like this, you know, how about we stand here and actually read what is in, you know what I'm saying, United States Bill of Rights, right? And see the article, the first, article, the second, you know what I'm saying? Third, you know what I'm saying? Let's see here. Article the third, because it's actually the third article in the United States fucking Constitution, whatever, right? So, you know, when they talk about the Bill of Rights, they mean the rights for the people, you know what I mean? But the rest of them, like, you know, the first article is how they set up the representatives, you know what I'm saying? The second article, you know what I'm saying, you know, is them standing here talking about how they're going to pay the motherfuckers and how they're going to stand here, you know what I mean, and not have individuals, you know what I mean, get extra money at this moment. But the third article of the Constitution is, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibited the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or of the right of the people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. All right. So that's the actual, right? You know what I'm saying? That's the actual motherfucking language, you know what I mean? Which is important, you know what I mean? Because this dude here, he doesn't actually stand here and mention any of this shit, which I think is, you know what I mean, pivotally important that, you know, like, motherfucking, if you want to have a conversation about this, you know what I mean, might want to sit here and, you know, fucking, like, actually talk about it, you know what I mean? Like, bring it up and fucking read the actual fucking bill, you know what I mean?
It was there to protect new ideas so people could advance a controversial theory. And it,
well, technically it was there because, like, yo, the press was highly important to be able to get information out to the people, right? Like, the only way that the people would have the ability to know exactly what was going on was for, you know what I mean, the press to, you know, not be restricted. You know, that way they could be educated enough to vote. That's really what the freedom of speech was for, right? Like, technically, when, you know, it was originally formed. And I personally think that, you know, calumny, you know, I mean, should still be a fucking crime, which is where the press lies to the people, you know, because they have an inherent responsibility to tell the goddamn truth, you know, you know, but we don't want to fucking, we're not even going to get into that at the moment.
it not be labeled as heresy, so you could criticize your government. That's why it's there. In order to do that, you have to know how your government works. Inherent in the right to free speech is the responsibility to become educated.
Agreed. Completely agreed. All right. And so our free speech at the moment is having the ability to criticize not just the free speech of our government and the free speech of government agencies, but also the press, because the press has been invaded by people like the CIA, right? You know, and I know, like, I'm a fucking bitch about, you know, conspiracy theory guys, but legit, Project Mockingbird's a real fucking thing. These individuals, you know, like Washington Post is owned by fucking Jeff Bezos, who, you know, I mean, stood here and had a fucking $200 million contract from the goddamn fucking CIA for cloud services and shit. Don't get anything misunderstood. There's a reason why, like, the news is always about war. There's a reason why guys like Brian Williams had a fucking orgasm when we were launching rockets into fucking Syria. You know, like, it's because, you know, they really want fucking war. And that's some real shit, because that's what the government wants. And so now we, the people, have to be able, as citizen journalists, you know, like guys like me or guys like this dude, whoever the case might be, to criticize the words coming out and to question the official narrative of things, because more often than not at this point, you know what I mean? Like, legitimately more often than not, what the press is putting out to us is bullshit. And me personally, like, I feel that responsibility heavily. All right. Like, I don't want to lie to y'all ever. And that's why, like, I don't report on, like, you know, like, some guy asked me, when am I going to report about this Aubrey, whatever the fuck his name is, Aspers or whatever. Right. I'm not going to report about that. Why? Because I wasn't there. I don't have the information. And at this point, it's all kind of just conjecture and opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's kind of really where we're at, you know, so let's keep banging.
So what you say actually has value. You have the right to an assembly, to peaceably assemble. You have the responsibility not to block off a hospital when you do it. That seems like it should go without saying. We'll just go ahead and skip to
Well, what about, like, you know what I mean, all these fucking crowds who block off roadways, you know what I mean, and stop people from being able to fucking get to work? You know, what about, like, the air traffic controllers that get held back from going to work, or they're trying to go down the fucking road? You know what I mean? What about, you know what I mean, like, all the individuals who, you know, maybe out here doing, you know, nurses and doctors who are getting blocked off on the road by all your Antifa buddies? You know, this is a two-way fucking street here, man. Legit. If you want to stand outside of the White House, or stand outside of your state house, or stand outside of your local municipality, you know what I mean, or want to stand outside of a courthouse and protest, by all means, get it done. I mean, if the courthouse, like, for instance, the courthouse here is like a block from, you know what I mean, the fucking hospital. If that ends up happening and it blocks the hospital, that's, you know what I mean, fucking terrible. But on the same point, this is going to happen from time to time. And we need to legitimately hold back and look at the whole thing. Go, where's the hospital? Where's the fucking protest? Where are they protesting at? You go back and forth and go, oh man, like, fucking, you know, the hospital's right next door to where the hell they're protesting at. This is, you know what I mean, they're not trying to block the fucking hospital off, you know, but this is what the fuck happens sometimes. But we need, as journalists, as individuals out here bringing and trying to educate the masses about things, to have that much knowledge, to stand here and have that type of self-will to not let our prejudices fucking sit here and overtake us. You know what I mean? And actually report the news to individuals. That's an important fucking thing that I think the fucking press forgot. You know what I mean? We're not here for clickbait. We're not here to stand here, you know what I mean, and get views. I mean, we are, but on the same point, like, if you want to do it properly, you want to do it in a way that doesn't destroy society. You know what I mean? Where it actually educates society. And if you bring out a story that destroys the government, at that point, it's only because the government deserved it. And that's the fucking difference. You know, and it's important that we keep that fucking mentality.
the Second Amendment. It's the one most people are familiar with, and typically the people who view this right as sacred are the biggest offenders.
All right, so let's go back to, you know what I'm saying, what the reality is. It says a well-regulated militia being necessary for the security of a free state, comma, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. All right, so with this being said, this mentality, okay, is twofold. One is, right, a free state. That's very important. A lot of people don't mention that, right? They don't focus on free state, okay? When your government becomes, and it's actually mentioned in the preamble, right, which is highly important. I don't even know if the preamble's in this bitch, right? But let's take a look. We'll see if the preamble's actually in here, right? No, it's not at the second. You know what I mean? You know, it's really fucking important. Legit. You know what I mean? Like, it's really fucking important to understand where all this comes from, right? So, a free state. You don't end up being a free state if you have draconian measures and the people have no way to fight back, right? Legit. That's some real shit. And there's been times where this government has become draconian. There's times like during the Civil War, during World War II, during World War I, times of, you know, I mean, civil unrest, Dust Bowl, depression, things of this nature, where the government went to war with the people. And the Whiskey Rebellion, you know, under George Washington, there has been times that martial law has been ordered in order to stand here and try to bring a peaceable, you know, I mean, resolution to a problem. Now, understanding this amendment is very important, because if we don't want to have a massive military state, which is what we have right now, all right, if we want to have a smaller military, if we want to have less amount of our fucking funds, which we're gonna have, because like, you know, like we don't have any fucking money, and like our society's too fat, right? Like 1/3 of our population has diabetes. If we want to have a smaller military, and you know, we're going to end up having all of our money go to Social Security and Medicare here soon, right, in the next like 5 to 10 years, this is going to be a problem of where we're going to have to downsize our military and downsize the way we live. We're going to have this conversation. And Machiavelli, all right, you got to take it back to the architects of society, the individuals who studied about Rome and studied about ancient civilizations of Greece and Sparta, Italy and Tuscany and Spain and Switzerland and Germany, and sat here and literally broke everything down, right? So what you want to do is you want to look at the reasons why our founding fathers, the individuals who wrote this Constitution and wrote these Bill of Rights, had this stuff in here. Machiavelli said, when you conquer a people, don't disarm them, because every sword you leave in the hands of an individual becomes your sword, because they will fight for their backyard and fight for their land and home and family far before they'll fight for a king or government. And this is important to understand. And the fact that you have property rights, right? You know what I'm saying? Which is, the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Right? This is about personal property rights. These are all things that are tied together, right? And you have to have that conversation. And I think it's important we have that conversation, right? Like, you have to explain it and understand why and how. Like, what happens when our military doesn't have any oil to move shit around? Can they protect our country? What happens, say, like an EMP goes off and our military's grounded? They have no planes, they have no drones, they got no trucks, they have nothing. Then it's you. It's you and your community. That's it. That's an important fucking thing to understand. Right? So, before you go spouting off about nonsense, you need to understand the historical aspects of what you're talking about. Let's keep going.
Shall not be infringed. The right to keep and bear. Cool. Why? It's actually written in this one. They made it real clear. Because at any moment, you can be called forth to protect your community. That's the responsibility that goes along with it. We got a whole bunch of people out there talking about how they're ready. They are ready to defend the country and individual liberty. I'm supposed to trust you in a firefight. I can't even trust you not to make unnecessary trips to the store to get Twinkies.
Because we've come accustomed in this world to having what we want when we want it, right? We've come accustomed to being able to go to 7-Eleven at, 3 o'clock in the morning and going and buying a throw in the oven pizza. We've come accustomed to being able to go, hey man, it's 4 a.m. I just got off work. I'm hungry. I'm going to go to Walmart and get spaghetti and whatever, right? And we've done this for the past 20 years. Individuals are going to live in that fashion, so this mentality of I'm not going to make unnecessary trip to the store to get Twinkies. Sometimes you want a fucking Twinkie. I'm pretty sure this dude here makes, extra trips to his fucking Coke dealer. You know what I mean? He makes extra trip to his fucking weed dealer. It's all about what individuals hold as important at that moment. But trusting individuals in a firefight, I don't know. Like, Individuals have to prove themselves, and it is what it is. But ultimately, if you don't trust your neighbors, if you don't trust your next door neighbor, dude, what are you going to do when that time comes? What do you do when the government's not there to protect you? What do you do when you call the cops and ain't nobody coming? Because I've been there. Legit, I've been there. You know what I mean? In '08, when they fucking weren't coming out for calls. When you can call them for shit and them motherfuckers just straight didn't show up. Because the city was bankrupt. What are you going to do when it's a flood? You're going to rely on your neighbors? You're going to band together and help each other out? Hope so. Or you're going to be hungry. I mean, like, yo, this is important shit. And you can't stand here and just be a bitch and shoo it away. Like, it is what it is.
You will pardon me if I don't sleep soundly with you on watch. You're going to make the ultimate sacrifice for truth, justice, the American way, mom and apple pie and all that stuff. But you can't make the sacrifice of staying home and watching Netflix.
Well, what you're talking about is individuals, you know what I'm saying, who want to go to work. You know what I mean? Because they got bills to pay. Like, you know, like all this mortgage relief nonsense. Like, yo, when this is over, they're going to want all that money back. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, they're going to, you know what I mean, want all your car notes at the same time. That's what they're planning on. Legitimately. That's what's in the bills. So, yeah. I mean, what if your kid's got expensive, you know what I mean, prescriptions? What if your kid, you know what I'm saying, you know, has nebulizer treatment they have to take? What if, you know what I'm saying, you're taking care of your fucking family members? What if you're way overstretched on what the hell you're doing, as most Americans are? The average American don't have $500 to cover a fucking emergency. The average American. 90% of Americans don't have a grand stack back. You're going to tell me that, like, these individuals aren't going to want to go to work and earn? Yeah, I don't know, dude. I don't know.
To protect your community. These same people all of a sudden, well, we have to get the economy back on track because of those poor people. Those poor people. If people actually cared about those we are deeming essential now, they'd probably have a living wage. Probably have access to health care, stuff like that.
Now, look here. All right. Legit. I'm going to remotely agree with you. Right. I do believe that, you know, Americans should have been had a raise. But the problem is people like you keep, you know what I mean, bitching about everybody who wants to build a fucking wall to stop the Mexicans from coming in because you think it's racist. But the truth is, and I'm gonna keep this all the way, you know what I mean, honest. It's about economics. When you add more people to the bottom of the workforce, they end up getting able to fucking give you whatever the fuck they want. It doesn't matter what you mandate. Legit. If you mandate $15 an hour, $15 an hour will become nothing. It's how it works. As we've been printing money, things have been going up in value. For instance, did you know in 1993 the average price of a home was average price of a new home was $150,000? Before this happened, it was $390,000. Between 2017 and 2018, the average price of a car went up 10 grand. That's basic transport. Every time the government touches something, it makes it fucking worse. Don't sit here, you know what I mean, and think that the government can fix this fucking problem. Other than, like, yo, keeping motherfuckers out of the country and, like, you'll stop handing out H-1B visas and H-2B visas or whatever the fuck they are. H-1Cs, H-1As, whatever. Right? You know, for individuals, you know, who are coming in here as Indians to do tech work for $12 a fucking hour, which fucks over all your engineers coming out of goddamn college. Dude, legit. You got to have this conversation. At some point, you're going to have this conversation and go, yo, look, just because your job's secure doesn't mean everybody else's is. On some real shit. Okay, let's finish this up.
But it's those who have focused solely on their rights and not on their responsibilities, their obligations to humanity, to society.
Yeah, look, you have obligations to humanity and society if you choose to exercise your rights. All right. Now, standing here saying that you're not allowed to go outside, because by the way, there's an amendment about that too, which is important. So let's look at this, right? You know what I'm saying? Because it's fucking important. Like real shit, right? Hang on a minute. The enumeration. Here we go. All right. So, okay. No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a precedent of indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising on land, on naval forces, or in a militia, with an actual service in time of war or public danger. Nor shall any person be subject for the same offense twice or be put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any case to be a witness against himself or to deprive of life, liberty, property, due process of law. Nor should a private property be taken for public use without just compensation. Where's the Joan? I know there's a dip in here. I forget where the hell it's at, right? There's a John about travel in this bitch, right? There's something about travel in here. You have the right to free travel. You have the right to move about, society peaceably. Like legit, you have the right to free travel within the states. It's that simple. And when you take away those rights, you know what I'm saying? When you stand here and you take away the right of an individual to sit here and move around, you are violating the rights of that individual. It doesn't really matter. And here's the thing. What about individuals' responsibility to take care of themselves? What if you're in one of those at-risks, you know what I'm saying, parts of society? What if you're over 50 or over 60? Shouldn't you have a responsibility to quarantine yourself away from other people so that you don't end up putting yourself in danger? This is more of this bullshit. We should put up like a fence around fucking Niagara Falls, even though there's not one on the Canadian side, right? Because people are too stupid. We need warning labels on every box because people are too stupid. What happened to personal responsibility, sir? Again, you have the responsibility to protect yourself. Trading essential liberty for safety will get you neither. It's that simple. Fucking hate these dudes. Swear to God.
Don't do that. It just reeks of privilege.
I fucking hate SJWs. Anyway, yo, look, man, this is getting kind of fucking long, so I'm gonna get off of here. Wanted to drop something for you because I'm heading out on the road here in a little while. I'm gonna holla at y'all motherfuckers later. Y'all know the deal. Like, share, and subscribe. Peace be like one. Later.